What is up, everyone? My name is Sam and welcome back to another video. Today I want to go over what I think could be the 3 most important questions you could ask yourself when building your EDC. Now, these questions could be for if you are brand new to the EDC world, congratulations, everything's about to get super complicated really quickly, or if you've been doing this for years and you just need to be asking yourself these questions because what if you're carrying stuff that you no longer need? So ultimately, this won't be about specific gear in general, but it's going to be more of a philosophical type video. If you're into that, awesome. And if not, I highly encourage you stick around. It's only 3 questions, but I really think they can impact what you carry and how you carry it. So the first question I'm going to ask, I think might be the most important out of all 3, but it's what do you do? One of the bigger driving forces of what you carry is based on what you do for a living. And my carry has changed all throughout the years depending on what I was doing at that point in life. When I worked in a mechanic shop changing oil every day, I carried a Leatherman Wave with me all the time. I've had this thing for almost 10 years now, and I'm kind of on the fence about should I retire it, get something new, or honestly just keep using it because it's still very good and it's not broken. It's great. It's a fantastic tool. But I use that thing every single day. It was covered in oil, gunk, grime, grease, whatever. And all I had to do was spray some brake cleaner on it and it was good to go, clean as a whistle. In addition to that, I also carried a Benchmade Griptilian, which was my first ever Benchmade knife. Originally, it was a high-vis orange, but I dyed it a few years ago. But it was a great knife and it was capable of doing the job. I bought it off a Snap-on truck that came by the shop once a week. Now, do I carry those a lot or every day now? No. I do keep my Leatherman in my backpack and it's there and it's available. I know where it is in case I do need it, but I don't carry the Griptilian anymore. It's quote unquote retired. I don't necessarily need it, but I still really like it. It's definitely one of those memory knives where I can remember, oh, I knew exactly where I was when I bought this and how I felt when I bought it. So it's gonna stick around. Now, let's say you're doing a job that requires a lot of heavy cutting, so something like that Griptilian could work. Or maybe you want to use something like a Milwaukee Fastback that has a disposable razor blade in it. I think that's a really good option. It feels really good in the hand. It's a button lock, so you can fling it around, just get all super fidgety with it. But you can use it, abuse it, toss the blade when you're done. You don't have to worry about sharpening, and you can just pop in a new one. But let's say you have a job that doesn't require you using a knife at all, like an office job, like I actually have now. You want to have a knife, but you don't need a knife. So should you not carry a knife? I would say carry a knife. If that makes you feel better, carry it, have it, it's available. You like it, carry stuff you like, ultimately. But let's say carrying a big knife isn't something you necessarily need to do at your job because you're not doing a lot of heavy cutting. So something like the Wee Banter, a Civivi Baby Banter, a Dragonfly 2. Those are great options. They're on the cheaper side, but you could also get something nice like the Tactile Turn Rockwall. I love that knife. Those are also great options. They can be used for cutting up small packages, things like that. They're non-aggressive, they're not scary. So I think they make really good office knives. What might be more important to you though is something like a pen because you're using that more often than a knife. I highly recommend stuff from Big Idea Design. There are other great options out there from other companies, but that's just what I've been using. I like the auto adjusting pen. They have an EDC fountain pen that is really nice. So I would agree that a pen is actually mightier than a sword if you are working in an office environment. Maybe having something like a nice watch is important to you as well if you are working in an office. So, I wear a Seiko 5 with it's just my one of my go-to watches. I've mentioned it many times in other videos, but I just still really like that watch. It's great. And if you're interested in more office EDC stuff, I am working on a video for that will be coming out in the next week or so. So just be on the lookout for that. Now, what if you work from home? You don't go to work. You go to work, but you don't go to work. You have the ability to not have to worry about carrying things. So you can just have all your stuff lying around, and if you need a knife, you go to where your knives are and you grab a knife and you can fidget with it, flick it, do whatever you want, or you can cut stuff open with it, or you don't have to wear a watch because you have your cell phone right there. You're probably in front of a computer. You can look at the time, you can check all your email, all that stuff. So if you're working from home, congratulations, you've won. You don't have to worry about carrying stuff. And that's just honestly the tip of the iceberg when it comes to this question. There are a lot of other factors, but again, asking yourself this question and really giving thought to it will help you decide on what you should carry and what you should invest in, because a lot of this gear is an investment that it should be worth really giving thought to if you're going to give your money to it. The next question I think you should ask is, where do you live? You don't have to ask that question. You should probably already know the answer to that question, but where do you live does play a factor into the things that you carry. Some of you may live in more rural areas where carrying a knife on your hip or a multi-tool or any of that kind of stuff is not a big deal. You might need a flashlight because, again, if you live in the country, it gets dark. There's not a lot of ambient light from buildings and things like that. So having a good flashlight is more of a need than a want. Some of you may live in countries or cities or states or whatever that have knife laws, and you have to abide by them or else you're breaking the law. So that plays a factor into what you can go outside and carry. Some of you may live in super wet areas like the Pacific Northwest where it rains a lot. So carrying a rain jacket is a need because you don't want to get soaked, or an umbrella because you don't want to get soaked. Stuff that isn't going to rust easily is important to you. You could also live in a place that's really cold, so having warm weather gear is a need. Not just a want, but you need it or else you're going to be cold. I live in the South, so it's a little bit urban, a little bit suburban, a little bit rural, specifically more where I live. So I kind of have to think about all these things, not necessarily as much as wet weather and super cold weather, but it does rain. It's summer. We have sporadic showers and it can get chilly in the winter. And I know if you're from the north, you're probably like, no, that's not cold. This is cold. And I totally agree with you. That's way colder than I'm willing to go live in. But, I have a little beanie that I carry in the wintertime and I have a jacket. So again, you have to ask yourself this question because your environment does shape what you carry. And the last question that you should probably ask yourself is, who am I? It's really important to know thyself. You want to carry things that you enjoy, that you know how to use and you like using. You might be like me and there's certain types of knives you do and don't like. I'm not a big fan of automatic knives and OTFs and things like that. And there's nothing wrong with them. If you're into that, that's great. I'm not telling you not to be into them. They just don't serve a purpose in my everyday life, so I don't go out and get them. I'm not super big in the watch game because I have heard and I've heard and accepted the warnings from other people of that is a black hole and your money will just disappear if you get into watches. So I have a couple that I like, and that's good enough for me. You also might have certain tastes, like you might be really into themes with your EDC. An all orange carry, an all red carry, a micarta only carry, Ultima only carry. I personally like titanium, so I kind of have more things in titanium, stonewashed titanium, than I do not. That's okay. We like what we like. If you want your carry to just be a theme, that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. You might want to carry as much as you can and be as prepared as you can. That's totally fine. I get that. You might be super minimalist, and there's nothing wrong with that either. You just have to think through, am I covering the most important bases in my EDC? And you have to decide what those things are as well. You can't just go and watch a YouTube video and be like, these are the 7 most important things that you need to carry. Even though I've made that video, I'll link that video somewhere in this video. But again, you have to ask yourself, what is important to me in my carry? Maybe you like wearing athleisure and you don't want to wear jeans and regular clothes all the time, but you like carrying your knife, you like carrying your pen, you need to carry a wallet, you have all these things that you want to carry, but it's going to weigh down your sweatpants or your gym shorts. So what should you do? I would say go get a sling pack. That would solve that problem. It's trendy, it's in fashion right now. So if that's what you're also aware of and is important to you is looking fashionable, go get a sling pack. Make that work for you. Free up those pockets. Maybe you're super into Star Wars, so you go for that Star Wars theme, the black and white stormtrooper look. That's totally fine. But ultimately, I think your EDC should be an extension of yourself. You shouldn't be trying to copy anyone else. You get to be your own person every day. You shouldn't be trying to be like anyone else. So don't make your EDC like someone else's either. Don't make it like mine. Don't make it like XYZ or whoever else you are super into following. Be inspired by them, but you shouldn't feel like you have to copy them. Just because they get this exact knife, it doesn't mean you should go get that exact knife unless you know you are going to like that knife. I try not to get caught up in drops. I'm not trying to go buy every exclusive because not every exclusive speaks to me. And I've realized that, and I remind myself of that. But I think that's gonna wrap up this video. I think I could probably keep rambling on about this topic, but let me know in the comments down below which of these three is the question you ask yourself the most. Is there another question that you ask yourself? What's really important to you in your EDC? Let me know what you do for a living if you want to, and how that affects your EDC and what you carry. I would love to hear about that. Again, thanks for watching. I hope you'll have a great day or night whenever you're watching this, and I'll see you in the next video.